Welcome to the EnRicHer experience. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. We were just talking about how we pulled this thing together in a week, literally. For the last 6 weeks, we've been serving our online community, and we have been giving ways where people can create a new lifestyle for themselves. And the series was called Roadmap to a New You. The idea came about, we were in the gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, it's New Year. Everybody talking about they doing this, doing that, but people don't actually implement their changes. And we think it's because they don't know how, right? It's so much pressure to
Mm-hmm.
just say one day, I'm just gonna start doing this, I'm just gonna be like this, and we thought it would be great, and we've been getting some great feedback. During our series, we would highlight different topics each week. And so last week, we were like, you know what, this series is coming to an end. We were actually on the
On
lot.
live,
Yeah, we were
yep.
actually doing the series, and at the end, we just started
We literally started planning the whole thing.
planning the whole thing
Right
on video
live.
right there. And we're like, we're going to bring this experience to women in person. So thank you
Thank
for
you, thank you,
being a
thank
part
you.
of this.
And then with it being International Women's History Month, it just flowed right into that. And literally, because I think our first live, we talked about like possibly turning this into an event that we can go and do this, throughout different cities and different things. And so I'm a strong believer the words that we speak have power, right? And so when you put those words into the atmosphere, that energy comes back to you if you are intentional about the energy that you put behind your words. So to see that our very first one, we were just throwing stuff out there, and then on the last one, it popped up in her again like, hey, and now here we are.
Yeah.
So that whole transformational process, when you believe in the power of what you speak and you put the energy and work behind what you speak, things do happen. Things do manifest. Sometimes they take a little bit longer than a week,
They
but they do happen. And so when you're diligent in that, you see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, for sure. And when there's passion behind it, right? And we're going to get into this because today we're talking about how we can really take action in all the things we've been talking about. And so when you have that passion, you know who you are, you know what you want, what aligns with you as you evolve through life,
Yes.
right? And so when all of that is just happening at the same time, just beautiful things can happen. So yeah.
So we are here.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
are here. And so enrich her, right? So everybody used the word empowerment. I personally do not like the word empowerment because I feel like it's manipulation behind the word, just because of my own personal experiences. People say, oh, I want to empower you, but sometimes that empowerment is manipulating you into doing what they want you to do, becoming who they want you to become, right? So when you look at the word enrich, that means to add value, add nutrition to the supplement, right? And so we are adding value to you ladies to enrich. So enrich her, okay? And we did it E-N, the capital R, and the capital H in enrich. So for it to kind of stand out a little bit. So that's what we're here. We're not here to empower you. The information we give you is for you to empower yourselves, okay? Because you give information all day long, but that doesn't mean that you're empowering that person. That person walks in empowerment when they take action for themselves. So no one can empower you. They can just give you the information for you to do it on your own. So we're here to give you the information to enrich you, to add value to your lifestyles, to add value to your mindset.
Mindset, most importantly, because everything begins with your mind.
Yes, it does.
We will probably hit on that so many times, that everything begins with your thought and your perception of the world. And when you have understanding of who you are, the powers that you have, your capabilities, then you can just go as far as you like. And let me be clear, okay, we are always reaching for something. We always want something else. It's just how we are as humans and creatives. We always, we're always striving for something. So I hope that you guys get something out of the conversation today. And this can be a conversation. You guys can yell things out or whatever, but because we'll talk. Well,
right. Right.
And hopefully our cameraman will just
Just
keep
flow
us
with us. Just flow with us.
We're going to have a
Yeah.
time check later, but
Yeah.
because we can talk. So yes, please feel free if something hits you or you have an idea, just throw it out and make it a part of the conversation. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What's your icebreaker?
Huh?
Icebreaker.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is it?
We're going to do the breathing work.
Oh, you want to do that first?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do a little breath work just to get everybody to kind of relax and get in a place of being open and being able to receive, right? So I'm finna so excited. So excited. I heard you say gently because I'll be in here. And play some music in here. All right. So I'm going to hit it. And what I want you guys to do is really just take a deep breath in. And you're going to hold it for 5 seconds. And then you're going to release it. All right. And then on the next one, it's going to be 10 times, right? And then you're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to hold it for another 5 seconds. Okay. We're going to repeat this like 5 times just to kind of get you guys to settle down, relax, calm your mind, in a place of openness to receive, okay? Ready? Release. Push it out. Don't be afraid. Push it out, push it out, push it out, push it out. This next one is quick and fast, in and out. Ready? Deep breath in. Release. Quick and fast. Ready? And go. Deep breath in. Release. Quick and fast, go. Deep breath in. Release. Relax, 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 relax. So at this place of relaxation, just picture yourself in a very calm place. Very, very calm place. Beach, walking in the forest, wherever you are. Just picture somewhere that takes you to a really relaxing place. And just allow yourself to go into that experience. If it's feeling the breeze from the ocean on your body, if it's feeling the bright warmth of the sun, whatever it is, just allow yourself to just be that in that place for like 30 seconds. Allow yourself to emotionally connect to that place. So if you want to smile, if you laugh a little bit, it's okay. Just allow yourself to connect to that place. And just kind of be there. If you're playing in the water, playing in the sand, looking at the trees, wherever you are, just allow yourself to really be in that place. And it'll take about 15 more seconds in that place. Pull out some joy in that place. Pull out some laughter. Whatever positive energy or emotion you need to feel, pull it out of that place. Really tap into that place. About 5 more seconds. Because when it's all said and done, you're the only person can really give you what you need. And you have to know how to go and get what you need. How to ground yourself and center yourself to really go and get it. No one can be anything for you. You have to be everything for yourself. people can only add value to what is already in you. No one can bring you peace. You have to already have peace living on the inside of you. No one can bring you happiness. You have to already have that happiness on the inside of you. They can only add value to what is already there. Enhance it, enrich it. And relax. All right, ladies. All right.
That was great, thank you. So I think we should do like a brief introduction so we can, inform the people of who we are. So my name is Miss Sinclair. I can't even look up because I'm still kind of, part of my mind is still where I was, but I'm trying to bring it all together. Sometimes I get lost in this playing around so much. All right, so my name is Miss Sinclair. I have a company called Feminine Boss. It's a women's empowerment company, and we emphasize health and mental well-being. Back in 2018, I found myself divorced from a marriage of 10 years. Also, I had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which put me in a financial depression. But I was ultimately also physically and mentally depressed because I was diagnosed with clinical depression, anxiety, taking pills and everything. And so literally, I recreated my life from there. Like, I figured out who I wanted to be, how I wanted to show up in the world. I emphasized my health throughout that journey, and now I help other women do the same. And so, thank you.
So I am Deliqua Isom. I am an anti-anxiety coach. I say anti-anxiety because if you follow me, then some of you guys know my story, but if not, I was molested from age 5 to 12. I was raped, went through a lot of domestic abuse, and I was placed on anxiety medication as a kid, as a teenager. And my anxiety was tied to performance. So anytime I had to get up in front of people and speak, I used to have what they thought at the time was asthma attacks until a doctor said, no, she's in here like every week. What's going on? We need to look deeper. And so they found out that I had severe anxiety disorder. They placed me on medication. I tried to commit suicide through one of those domestic abuse attacks by overdosing on the anxiety medication. I took myself off of that medication, began to heal the details of my trauma, found my purpose through my pain, and I am 28 years from anxiety attacks and anxiety medication. So that is why I am the anti-anxiety coach. I don't choose anxiety. Is anxiety present every single day? It is. But I choose not to allow anxiety to be a part of my day, right? Do I have stressful moments? Absolutely I do, and I have hella boundaries so that I don't operate in those stressful moments, right? Family, friends, especially mom, because she has 101 million questions every single day, right? And those are her questions, not mine. Okay? So I choose not to walk in anxiety. And I think that's a choice that we have to make. And you have to know how to do that because you have to know what your anxiety is tied to. So yes, it was tied to me speaking. And lo and behold, God has chosen me to be a speaker. So the enemy was trying to stop that process. Long before I got in high school, he was trying to stop it when I was an infant. Okay? Because there's purpose and power in my voice and in my story. So yeah, that's it. I've been in this industry for over, I'm old, about 18 years now in health and wellness. I started as a cosmetologist. That was the training ground for coaching women. From that, God transferred me into fitness. And I did not want to go into fitness. I went kicking and screaming into fitness, right? But God was like, well, no, I use fitness to help rebuild you. You're going to show other women how to rebuild themselves from a confidence stance. So I'm like, okay, no problem. And then in 2007, God was like, told this guy to tell me that I was going to become an author. I called him everything but the child of God and told him, no, I'm not becoming an author. What are you talking about? I want to write a book. He was like, well, you have a story on the inside of you that is going to help people. And I was like, whatever, right? 2015, God gave me the title of that book when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Through the Pain, I Rise, Let's Talk. That's my first book. And that was me telling my story about all the things that I've experienced, but most importantly, how did I heal and how did I find my purpose? So I thought I was a one and done. God said, no, you need to write another book, because when people heal, they don't necessarily change their mindset and their behaviors. So I wrote another book, Behind the Scenes of Purpose, and that goes into the mindset and the behavior patterns that we have to change when we find our healing and becoming who God has predestined us to be. So that's it. That's just a little bit of who I am and what I do.
Amazing. Let's get into this conversation.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we have like a little, kind of like an agenda, but we're going to try to stay on top of it. 'Cause Lord. All right. So I think that we spend a lot of time trying to get women to tap into their inner beings in order to really identify with who they are. So let's start there. Let's talk about, how women can really do that, because we're always changing, right? Our environments and our circumstances is always changing. So how do we maintain that connection with ourselves when we have families, when we have work, when we have, issues and friends and just the world, right? So let's get into that, a little bit of self-awareness and identity. So what's your stance on that?
So self-awareness, identity, right? The first thing is you must find out, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And who you are has nothing to do with your career, right? It has nothing to do with your lifestyle. It is everything but that makes you who you are, right? It's how do you self-identify. It is the things that really make you, your character, right? So in discovering those things, because you're going to grow and evolve, a different version of you is always going to emerge. And you should never, ever get comfortable with any version of you. My 5-year-old self is relevant to my 47-year-old self. My 20-year-old self is relevant to my 47-year-old self. Every version of who I was has allowed me to become who I am, right? And so every version of who you are, or every version of who you were, allows you to become who you are today. And so sometimes we can get to a certain level and feel like we've grown. No, baby, there's still work to do. There's still, when you're operating in self-awareness, you're going to always see things in areas you can grow and expand, right? I tell people all the time, when you're in self-awareness, there's a part of healing that has to take place in self-awareness. Now, you should not always be healing. If you are always healing, then there's a problem, right? You should get to a place where you're not always healing, that you're able to allow the healing work that you've done show and prove itself for you. For example, what I mean by that, when I was going through a healing journey, right? 5 years, I wouldn't date anyone. I went to church. I came home, went to work, came home. I took care of my kids. So I would not put myself in certain environments because I was healing, right? Oh, I'm not going over there because they do this and I don't do that no more, so I'm still over here, right? So it got to a place where I had to say, let me go over there, because who I've become needs to show up if I've done the work, right?
Right.
So let me go see, because if I get there and Sean come out, my middle name, if Sean come out, ooh, baby, Sean is an indication that you might need to go back and do some work. So you have to get to a place where you have to allow your work show up. But the only way you're going to do that is through self-awareness.
Yes.
And being self-aware, you have to be mindful. There's a level of mindfulness about who you are and your experiences and who's around you. I'm going to stop right there and let you.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And so that takes me back to 2018, when I left my husband. I drove from Virginia to Atlanta, my little PT Cruiser I had at the time, stuffed it with everything that I owned. He ain't even helped me pack the car.
Oh, Lord.
But anyway, drove to Atlanta. First, I was staying with a girlfriend, and so my girlfriend had allowed me to sleep on her couch, right? I slept on her couch for like maybe 3 months until, little friction started to happen. But by then, I saved up some money and I was able to get an apartment, thank God. And so in my apartment, I didn't have any furniture. Like, I couldn't afford any furniture. I was going through a bankruptcy, for God's sake. So I had my futon, I had my little table, a bed. And that was the first time in my life, I think that I was 28 years old. That was the first time in my life where I was really alone. Like, from as young as I can remember, I've always had younger brothers, and so I've always been the oldest. I've been taking care of the family and being so responsible in everything that I do. Then after my mom's house, I got married, and so this was the first time that I was alone. Like, and I spent my days outside of work in quiet. I spent my days dancing in the house, planting my plants in the house, crying, you know, just being. And, you know, that's when I really started to develop my self-awareness. I started to develop my self-talk. Like, I can hear myself for the first time. And so I want to encourage you to have those moments, you know, like have those boundaries in work and life so that you can have that time with yourself. Fun fact, our bodies regenerate cells every 90 days. So every 90 days, we are literally new people. Like, we are a new person. And so if you take a look back on your 90 days, what's happened those whole 90 days?
That transformation.
Your environment has changed. Maybe some new people are around you in those 90 days. And how does that affect you as a woman? How are you now different? So when you talk about you know, having that discussion with yourself and connecting with yourself, we should be doing that at least every 90 days because we're changing. People around us are having impact on us subconsciously, even though we don't think so.
Facts.
The things that are happening is having an impact on us subconsciously. And the subconscious is what builds our habits because we do things that we don't even think that we're doing, but because it's so embedded in what we've been seeing for the past 90 days, we're doing it and don't even know that we're doing it. And so you talk about self-awareness. Do you know that you're changed? Like, can you see that something's different about you? And so are you okay with that? You know, am I okay with this version of myself that I am right now? And when you start asking yourself those questions and you start answering them, what we going to do? What we going to do? You know, when you start having those conversations with yourself and you are courageous enough to answer them honestly, am I okay right now? Is this who I want to be? Do I want to continue to be this person? And if you say no, now you have to be strong enough to make those changes. You have to be intentional enough to make those changes. Other people are going to be uncomfortable. Just deal with that. We already know that. Your kids, your man, your family, your friends. I'm not saying that relationships are not important, but the relationship with yourself is the most important because you can always meet new people. You can always build new family and build a new tribe. There's 8 billion people in the world. Okay, God knew what he was doing when he created all these people. He didn't want you to be attached to people. He wants you to be attached to yourself. And so having that self-awareness and practicing those mindful moments every 90 days will help you understand the woman that you are and where you want to go.
So I'm a little bit obsessive, right? She said 90 days. I check in with myself every day.
Yeah.
I check in with myself in the morning and I check in with myself at night. Because, baby, listen to me now. Because if I wake up and today ain't today, today ain't today. I'm not going outside. I'm not forcing myself to do nothing. I don't care. Today ain't today. It's not. And this is what I've discovered. When I make it be today, when I go outside my door, I'm met with all kind of confusion. I'm met with all kind of obstacles. But if I would have listened to the voice when I said, hey, what we doing today? And the voice said, Deliqua, sit down. Don't go nowhere. But then Deliqua decided to take her little behind out the door anyway. Then I'm met with all of these obstacles. It never fails. It never fails. So I have learned to say, today ain't the day, okay, we sitting still. Who calling you? Okay, let them call. because today ain't the day. I honor myself. And as women, we're not taught to honor ourselves. We're taught, oh, you being selfish. I want people to stop saying that. I really do. Because nothing about me taking care of me is selfish.
Right.
I am preserving myself for the things that I need to do for me and my legacy and my family. So if that means that I can't talk to you today, I can't answer the phone because you're calling me, baby, if it's on fire, that's above my pay grade anyway. Call 911 because Deliqua cannot help me. Okay? So you have family members that will put that demand on you. I know firsthand because I got family members that try to put that demand on me. And they get upset with me. Well, I called you. And?
Okay. You couldn't call nobody else?
Did you leave a message? Did you send a text to say, hey, I need you to call me back? Because if you say it's important, I need you to call me back, then I may say, okay, let me see what's going on. But if you hit me with, okay, never mind, then it's okay, never mind. If I say I'm under the dryer, okay, never mind, I'm under the dryer. You figure it out. So you have to learn how to not allow people to project their energy and their anxiety on you.
I want to piggyback on you real quick.
Go ahead.
Because you spoke about your freedom and flexibility to wake up in the morning and say that we just ain't doing it today. But practically, right, we all have responsibilities. And so this is another point that I want to make because I'm also in this transition right now. And, you know, life is just so amazing because I watch myself jump through these transitions like it ain't nobody business. I'm like, oh, here I go again, becoming somebody else, right? And that's the fun and beauty about life. But now that I have this awareness that as a woman, as a Black woman, it's important to have that freedom and have that flexibility to wake up and just say, today, I don't feel like doing anything today. And so what does that look like on a practical level? And I'm going to take it back to me and my journey because I deserve that life, right? And so now what am I doing to build that life? Because it's important to my well-being. And so that's something else I want us to think about as we go out into the world. You know, what type of life are we building for ourselves? I'm 35 years old. I don't see myself working a job after next year. Like, this is my year. This is my year. This year, I'm going to be making $20,000 a month as a public speaker. And so I'm not going to be working for nobody else's dream because I know the impact that my freedom have on me and other people. And so now it's like, okay, and I talked to my mom about this because my mom has a very antiquated way of thinking. And I've learned from her that I should work harder physically. You know, even when I was married, I had 2 jobs. I had 2 jobs being married, coming home, taking care of the house, taking care of him, and he ain't even doing nothing. I didn't even know my worth enough to know that I was overworking. I just thought it was normal. And so now that I've changed the trajectory of my mindset, I'm building the life that I deserve. And so we have to also keep that in mind. We're not designed to work. I'm sorry. We're not designed to work. We're designed to create and nurture and impact our communities. The men are supposed to be working. We're supposed to be supporting the men and the children. And so what can we do? How can we serve in our communities to get there? So I want you guys to think about that.
The impact, the legacy that you want to leave, you know, in that. So in like she said, everybody doesn't have that luxury. We laughed about it. When I first said it the first time, she was like, that's a luxury to get up. Everybody doesn't have that luxury, right? And the other part of that check-in is at night. So, because I'm very aware of energy, right? I see energy on people. It's not something that I desire, it's just something that God gave me. And so I can be walking and pick up someone's energy, right? And now, because I didn't cover myself before I came outside, now their issue is mine, right? So I'm checking in and saying, okay, Deliqua, where does this come from? Where did you go today? Who did you see? What did you come in contact with? Because I'm not carrying this with me. It stops here. So I check in with myself. Your feelings are a little off balance. Who you talk to today? Because this ain't your normal. And then I go back to those conversations. And then going back to the conversations, I'm able to get to the roots of the problem and not go to sleep with it and it wakes up with me the next morning, right? Because as women, we carry everybody's stuff. You have to learn how to unpack this stuff. So the way that I unpacked it is first being self-aware that it happened, right? And then when it happens, I'm asking myself, okay, where? So I'm getting down to the roots of where it came from. And now I'm saying, okay, this energy doesn't serve my vibrational being. It's not who I am. It is not mine. So I'm not taking ownership. And I'm taking a deep breath. And I am literally, because I am trained and just at a pro at releasing stuff, I'm able to release it. But you got to understand, this is over 20-something years of work for me. This is not something that I just started doing.
Yes.
So for me to release things, it's easy. Other people, it's a little bit harder. So when I say you have to train yourself to learn how to release stuff, it is a daily thing. It is daily. It's not something that you can just wake up and do. And I understand that. But again, this is over 20 plus years of doing the work.
And that's a great point because, Lord, I swear every year I make a goal and I might not reach that goal that year. I don't realize how long it takes to transform and transition into something different. But the key is to keep your eyes on the prize. So we're going to move into clarity and balance right now because, you know, we talked about, you know, putting yourself first, creating a life that you deserve, that you desire, that gives you the flexibility to be who you want to be. But how do we have that clarity and how do we balance that as we go on this journey? Like, how do we say, okay, I'm going to work on this or work on this, but still keep my mind clear to what I want to do in getting there?
First of all, I think part of clarity is your connection spiritually. If you don't have a spiritual connection, not a religious connection, a spiritual connection, if you don't have a spiritual connection to understand what God is saying directly to you, not what somebody in the church has said God has said to you, because anything somebody speaks to you is a confirmation of what you've already heard, period, point blank, right? And so if you don't have that first relationship first of all, you ain't gonna know who you are, you're not gonna be self-aware, and you ain't gonna have clarity and peace. So that relationship with God, that spiritual relationship with God has to be in order.
Yes.
You have to be able to tap into that relationship and understand what God is saying directly to you beyond the scriptures, right? Because we got some people that can only quote what God is saying through the scripture. No, God is speaking to us right now, today in real time.
Yeah.
And I say that because that is a real experience for me. If I ask God a question, I don't have to wait a week for a response. I get the response instantly because I'm in tune with that relationship with my God self. So you have to sit still long enough and meditating, being quiet. You're going to hear different voices. As you begin to move and navigate and grow, you're going to be able to distinguish what voice is speaking and what voice isn't. Because I know when the voice of fear is speaking. I know when the voice of God is speaking. It's two different voices, and they always contradict themselves. So you have to get to that place of maturity in your spiritual walk to understand the voice of God so that you can move freely in clarity. Because you may want to do something, because I just told you I came into fitness kicking and screaming. I didn't want to write a book. I didn't want to do none of this stuff. I just wanted to do hair. That's it. Give me the scissors and the clippers. Ain't it right, Felicia?
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Give me the scissors and the
For
clippers.
this.
Give me the scissors and the clippers. I don't want to do nothing else. This is my thing. What you mean I got to go do this? God spoke it to me. And then the people that I was going to train with, oh, you'll be great as a fitness coach. No, I won't, because I ain't got that much energy to be jumping up and down like y'all do. I'm not that person. And they're like, no, you'll be great. It took me a year to say, okay, God. And when I made the decision, I was doing a pastor. I was doing her hair. And then she says to me, since you work out of town, you need to go be a trainer. I laughed. I said, oh, I just researched and got a price. So when she left that day, not only did she pay for her hair, she paid for my first certification. So clarity comes, right? But you have to understand when God is speaking to you and transitioning you, it's not going to be what you want to do in most cases. It's not going to be what you naturally gravitates towards. It's going to be something out of your comfort zone. Because we're transitioning, we're growing, we're evolving, we're going to another dimension, another version of ourselves. I was comfortable with the hairstylist version of me. I was comfortable with that. Being a fitness trainer, I wasn't comfortable with that. And so I would go in and do these classes, kill them, and then I would walk out, self-doubt speaks. Did you do a good job? No, you ain't do good. But the people half dead. What you mean you ain't do a good job? For real. For real. Because I'm going to go here. Because my root chakra was off. Your sense of being, your sense of I am, your sense of groundedness. All my energy, guess where it was at? Y'all should know this by listening to me talk. All my energy was in my third eye, my intuition, my God self. Because that stay open. My root chakra was off. And so when you get into the chakras and understanding the balancing of that, right? Because we talk about clarity and balance, right? To understand the balance of that, my body was off. Because your root chakra is tied to your lower abdomen. So I wasn't going to the bathroom frequently because my root chakra was off. But I was seeing and hearing everything. God was communicating like no tomorrow. But I needed to balance that energy off, right? And so I went into Reiki and did Reiki sessions. And she literally told me what was going on with me. She said, oh, you're so spiritually connected. It scares you half of the time. You hear so much, you scared to speak half of the stuff you see because you think people going to think you're crazy. She said, we have to balance that energy off. And so there were things that I had to do to balance myself, which was affirmation. But I did affirmations that were in alignment with who I am and where I'm going, not something that I found off of Google. Okay? I'm going to stop right there.
No, that's good. I want to piggyback on the root chakra because I've started learning about chakras maybe the last year or so. And the root chakra is also connected to your upbringing, like your family. Like it's the start of your creation and who you are as a person. And so I started going to therapy these past few months because things have been a little tough. And so one of my first therapy sessions, my therapist was like, oh, girl, you over-parentified. I was like, what? Excuse me? Hold on, what? Because I'm kind of like a know-it-all. Like I like to know what you're talking about and do my own research, and then I'll tell you if what you said is right? And so I'm like, parentified now, what is that? As you can see, I take notes all the time. And so she's like, yeah, you grew up too fast as a child. As I told you guys earlier, I was the oldest. I always had to maintain the house and my brothers. And so she said, all this time you've been in survival mode. You've always been fighting for your independence and for your peace because you've always been so responsible. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something there, you know? And so now learning that about me, it strengthens my confidence to set those boundaries in my life even more. So, and I want to bring that over to balance, right? Because as I'm on this journey to the woman that I see in my dreams and who I want to be, sometimes there is no balance. Sometimes you have to put all of your energy or most of your energy into what you want to do because that's how you're going to be more successful. And so sometimes people are going to have to deal with some of your boundaries. And that is my balance right now. My balance is me. And I just had a conversation with my mom about this, actually. I was telling her because we kind of got into it. All right, you talk about mothers. I'm grown now, so I can speak what I want to speak, okay? Respectfully, of course. And I was telling her, she had a problem with, she lives with me. So she had a problem with some of the rules that I had around the house. And she was like, well, I'm your mother. And I said, you know what, Ma? I think it's time that we had this talk, right? Because I've been waiting for the right moment to speak what I want to speak. And now that I know that I've been over-parentified, okay?
Pull up.
Now let me tell you. And so I had to explain to her, I'm like, listen, I love you. I want you to feel welcome. But at the same time, I am becoming someone different, and I understand the past. I understand what the past has, of how it's affected my life. Always being in survival mode, like I said, taking care of so many things. That's why I've been responsible all my life. You thought I was just an overachiever. No, I felt like I had to be an overachiever. And so now I'm getting to know myself, and this is what I need in my space that I worked hard for. This is what I need to continue to grow so I can help you and I can help my family time at the time being, right? Not when y'all want me to, but when I am ready to.
Right.
And, she really understood that. She was like, maybe I need to go to therapy too. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you should,
Because one thing you cannot be afraid of is having the uncomfortable conversations. But that first uncomfortable conversation has to be had with yourself. If you can't have it with yourself, then you can't extend it out, right, to the next person. So you have to be willing to have that uncomfortable conversation with yourself. So when you go back to mothers, I remember when I wrote my first book. Because my first book is full of details, okay? Let's be clear. It is all the details, right? And so I changed everybody's name in the book. I kept my name the same. And so in this book, everybody's like, well, what did your mom do? Well, when I told that I was being molested at 5, my mom beat me. So that's what shut me down from age 5 to 20-something. So when I was being raped, when I was being beat up, I never said anything else because I got in trouble, right? And I didn't understand the power of my voice at the time, so it gave me some inner insecurities, right? And so when I wrote the book, my family knew bits and pieces because I wasn't saying nothing because God said write the book. God said, have tunnel vision. Don't worry about how nobody else is going to feel. This book ain't about them. It ain't even about you. It is about you helping other people. So, baby, I took full ownership of that. You hear me? I put on my army fatigue. I got ready for that because that's a battle, right? That's a battle when you're putting so many details in the story. So when I released the book, my mom was concerned about how everybody was going to view her, what everybody was saying about her. And I'm like, what for? We good. You know what I mean? We good. That was then. This is now. So when we began to have a conversation that literally it came to this, and I was glad. I was glad it came to that, because it wasn't about me in that moment. It was about her getting what she needed, right? And so many of my truths were her truths. So much of reading my book was a mirror image for herself. And that's what the real problem was, right? So you have to, again, self-awareness, be able to identify your mess and not project it on other people. Because I was determined not to project that onto my children, and I did not, thank God. But a lot of times when we don't deal with our stuff, we pass it to the next generation. Generational curses, that's how they happen because we're not dealing with it. We're not identifying what the problem is because this problem is a part of my identity and I don't want it to be. And I'm clear on that because clarity has always been there because I've always felt like there was something more on the inside of me. I can't just be my circumstances, which is why I never, to this day, identify with my circumstances. Those were experiences. That's not a part of who I am. I don't care what comes my way, even to this day. That's an experience. It's not who I am vibrationally. So being able to identify your trauma, your issues, your stuff, so that you can operate in clarity and balance, so that you can be in tune with your root chakra, your sacrum, your solar plex, your heart chakra, your throat chakra. My throat chakra was blocked. I couldn't speak my truth from 5 years old. Balance, alignment. But all of that came out, was off from the beginning of my childhood.
Yeah.
So how much a part of your childhood plays a part of you now, and how much of that is your misguided version of yourself in operation right now today? If you don't begin to pull back those layers and rediscover and reconnect to who you are by being connected, by understanding what God has said about you and what God is showing you naturally about you, not about your situation, not about your circumstances, not about your bank account, but what has God said and predestined for you. If you can't understand that, if you can't see that, if you cannot connect that, you're going to be operating as a misguided version of yourself. You have to be willing to see yourself differently. See yourself beyond right now present, who you are right now today. I know I'm a multi-millionaire. I know that because God has spoken that. And not only has God has spoken that, God has sent people randomly every year, never seen these people, to tell me that. Clarity. When God speaks to you, he's going to send someone to confirm. And so you should always walk in that awareness. You should always show up as that, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're facing. You walk in your clarity. You show up as your clarity. And that clarity will change because you're growing, you're evolving, and you're expanding. But you're supposed to walk in that. You're supposed to show up in that. So that vision of your clarity right now, then that's who you show up as. That's how you balance and align your life to that. That's the energy that you put out into the world. That's the energy you project when you speak. You don't speak about what is, you speak about what God said. And that's the secret. They want to keep it from you. That's the secret. It's the power of speaking what you know, not what you believe, because there's a difference. There's a difference between believing and knowing. When you know something, it is a part of you. It shows up with you. That's the secret. What you know and how you speak about what you know.
Yeah.
Because what you know doesn't speak self-doubt. What you know doesn't show up as anxiety. It's what you know. You got to understand that difference and that balance of that so that you can walk in that. And then that energy is going to align itself to you and start to manifest that for you.
Yeah, that's really good. Wow. Man, all right. So we started off talking about self-awareness and identity, right? We talked about ways that you can connect with yourself and align yourself with the Most High to understand what is purposeful for you, right? We talked about the clarity and balance, setting those boundaries, staying headstrong in your goals, whatever that may look like for you. And now we're going to go into how you keep your faith and confidence in doing that, because I think that's the reason why a lot of people just fall off from their dreams. They start to have that imposter syndrome. They feel like they can't do it. They start watching other people feeling like, they can't make it happen. And so I want to start off with a little bit of truth and understanding, because I believe that when you understand something, when you have the knowledge of something and it becomes truth to you, now you can embody that and create that within your own life. And so even something that I have learned to understand is how special and divine we are, not only as humans, but as women. Okay, let's think about this. We are here in this room, right? But this room is in this building. This building is in this neighborhood. This neighborhood is in this city. This city is in this state. The state is in the country. The country is in the world. And the world is in the universe. And who knows what's beyond the universe, right? And so we have to understand that we were specifically created. Like, we are the only living creatures that have a mind. We were given a special power to think and have consciousness, to dream, the wisdom to impact others, to create things, to mold things, and like literally create this world. And so we are so special and powerful. On top of that, God said, you know what? I'm not only going to give you that. First of all, not only are you going to be an African American woman, okay? Let's put that in there.
That part.
I'm also going to give you the power to create more. To create more. Has anybody ever thought about how nothing can be turned into something when it's inside of you? Like, that is powerful. So if you can do that, you can do anything. Anything. And when you understand why you were created and the powers that you have, it's so easy and it's so effortless to get up and do exactly what it is that you want to do and create the life that you want to create. All you need is understanding. If you want to get into an industry, if you want to have a new skill, you just start. It's very simple. I think we make it so much harder, like I said, because we compare ourselves, we look around next door, when we should just be connecting with the divine, sitting with ourselves. And you know, and I talked to you about this before because now, when I came over with the company Feminine Boss, right? I told y'all I was over parentified. So I was working multiple jobs. I felt like you had to be a hustler, right, to become a millionaire. And so when I realized who I was, I said, I am the strongest, the wisest, the most experienced, the richest when I am in my femininity. Not when I'm pushing and fighting and going and having these conflicts. No, I am the strongest when I can take the weekend to just plant and do my hair and relax and read and write. And then it just seems like things just happen. And I just impact people more easily. You know, if somebody calls me, I have the time. I can help them. I can be creative. I can solve problems. And that is valuable. You can charge people for that. You can be on vacation, taking consulting calls, charging $500 an hour, because that is when you're most powerful and when you can give the most. And so when it comes to having faith and comes to having confidence, I think it just comes from understanding and the knowledge, and it becomes your truth.
It becomes your truth.
And it becomes your reality.
That feminine energy, that feminine power, that divine source, right? That divine guidance. When you look at all that encompass, because we are creators naturally. We are. We were designed to create. We were designed to receive, but we give so much of ourselves. How out of alignment and off balance is that, right? We're operating in the male dominant energy over here. Your feet, and this is literally it on this side of the body. That's why I'm holding my hand out. It's literally on this side of the body, right? Our female, right, it's all over here. You think about the things you do with your hands, your movement, right? If you're like me, I'm naturally right-handed, right? So I practice grabbing with my left hand. I practice giving to myself with my left hand to operate in feminine power, feminine energy, and that awareness of it, because I'm always supposed to be receiving and not giving. So if I'm eating, I try to always be on the receiving end, because that's what I'm creating in my life. For things to be given to me so that I can receive. Understanding that power that lies within me. That awareness, it takes awareness, right? That awareness to be in to say, oh, wait, do it with this hand. But if we want to operate in that divine feminine power, we have to do things and practices that puts us in that divine feminine power, that builds our confidence. So when we talk about internal and external, self-care and soul care, self-care is external, soul care is internal. What do you need to do for your soul to build your confidence to withstand the challenges that life is facing? You have to be able to identify that. what is the talk? If you want to withstand the challenges, what are you telling yourself when a challenge comes? Identify your talk. Identify the behavior behind that talk. When you talk to yourself like that, what type of behavior does it produce? Because that's the energy you're putting out, and that's what you're getting back in your life. So, balancing that to be able to walk in your confidence when things are happening in your life, when things are moving, because life is always happening. Baby, as soon as we wake up, we can be sleeping, get a phone call in the middle of the night. We can go outside, have a flat tire when we wake up. Things are always happening.
Yeah.
So when these things are happening, how are you? This is one thing. And people, look, I don't play by me, okay? Let's be clear, I don't. I had a client tell me one day I was having problems logging on to Zoom or something was going on. And she said to me, oh, you having a rough day? I said, no, ma'am, I'm having a rough moment because this will not be a part of my day.
Right.
This is just happening right here. And whether we can jump on or not, I'm going to leave this right here. So you might have to catch me tomorrow because it's not going to be a part of my day. You got to be able to know when to cut things off.
That's true.
Because not only are you speaking to you, people.
Yeah.
Words are spells, spelling.
Yeah.
Power of life and death in the tongue. So when things are happening that come to destroy your confidence, what you saying?
Yeah.
Because there are things happening all day to set you off balance. What are you saying when it's happening?
Yes.
Are you making a nonverbal commitment to that? And then this. You got to get to a place where you're operating in the present, and the presence is your conscious, not your subconscious. Your subconscious is all pre-programming behavior that has happened since you were a child. So those are pre-wired responses that are responding for you currently. So you got to understand what the subconscious is saying so that you can operate in the conscious. Because the conscious mind say, no, baby, this is a moment.
Yeah.
This is not a part of my day. You're able to identify and not respond how you would normally respond. Yeah, girl, I'm having a rough day.
Yeah.
You just woke up. How's it a rough day?
Yep.
For real.
No, honestly, you got to change the conversation. You have to, and people have to get used to that. You have to correct people and teach people how to speak to you. It has to be something different now. No, don't talk to me like that. You know, when you call me, don't call me sounding tired. Call me like you have some energy. Respect my space because this is what I want in my environment. This is going to make me a better person. You have to have that awareness, and you have to check it right there.
Oh, God,
you have to check it. Yeah.
Because people, like, I've been going through a time of my life these last couple of weeks. Baby, I'm having the time of my life, and I don't mean in a positive way, right? But it's the time of my life. I'm moving, I'm flowing, I'm evolving right in this experience, right? So because of how people know they would respond in my situation, they project that energy on me. And they feel like because they would be stressed out, I'm supposed to be stressed out. I'm up here talking to my plants, singing to my plants, playing sensational, like my name Chris Brown. Over here meditating, praying, having a grand time.
Right.
Having a grand time. But because you know you would be stressed, when you speak to me, you speak to me in that manner.
Yeah.
And then they listen to me, they're like, well, you sound, be present with me.
Yeah.
Be present. I understand I got all this going on, literally.
Yeah.
But be present with me.
Yes.
Because I'm not there. That's not who I am.
Yes.
And constantly repeating for you to be confident and repeat that clarity back to yourself. Repeat what you know, not what you believe, because you can believe something and maybe it ain't always true.
It's not true.
But when you know it's something in your spirit, it's something in your vibration that just lets you know. And nobody, no one. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you were in seed form, God didn't call your mommy and your daddy and say, hey, I'm going to tell her to be a speaker. I'm going to have her to be an author. I'm going to have her helping women. I'm going to have her going to all these different places. Is that okay with you? God didn't say pull up, that's tall. And this is another thing that I want to say, because I think it's very important. Who are you speaking to when you speak? Who, and this is what I mean by that. When we look at manifestations, when God said, let there be, who was God talking to? He wasn't talking to himself. God was talking to the universe. And the universe became this, that. The universe is what brought forth the word that God spoke. Go back and read it for yourself. You'll see it. But they ain't teaching you that in the church, right? Pray to God. Talk to God. When you are trying to manifest something, when you are trying to co-create something in your life, you speak to the universe. When you speak to the universe, check your vibration. Check the timing of your words. Are you stressed out? Do you have anxiety when you're speaking? Because if you do, it ain't happening. When God spoke, let there be, there was clear, concise confidence. I'm the man. Let there be. Period, point blank. There was no doubt, no nothing in operation. So when you're trying to manifest who you're speaking to and how you're speaking, what vibration are you speaking in? Because that's going to determine the manifestation time of you receiving. So if you speaking and you are feeling some type of way, be quiet. Don't say nothing. Wait till it's gone and then speak. Because the more you speak in the proper vibration, the more it builds your confidence. The more challenges begin to come in your life, the more your confidence is built because you understood, you operated as your divine self at the divine time and spoke to the universe.
Yes.
So understanding that is a part of building your confidence and maintaining your confidence, why things are happening in this world and happening to you.
Yes.
Who are you speaking to when
Yeah.
it comes to creating? Now, that's one part of it. When you are asking for changes about you internally, you speak to your God self, because that's who has to reveal it to you. So you got to know who you're communicating with. So when I wake up in the morning, I say good morning to everybody. God, universe, nature, ancestors, the 2 children that I got rid of through abortion from being raped and stuff. Yeah, I speak to everybody. Hey, how y'all doing? Grand Rising God, Grand Rising. I literally, because they're a part of my day. It's a part of the awareness that I walk in. So when I wake up and I'm saying, what do I need to be aware of today? What do I need to have, what I see, what I need to experience? When I told y'all it's real time for me, it's real time for me because of my regimen of when I get up in the morning. I'm asking for information to come. So when people be like, well, how do you know that? Oh, God showed it to me. Because the universe is speaking to me. Nature is speaking to me. You got to pay attention to the birds and different things that you see, because all of them have a spiritual connection. And when you understand the spiritual connections, that bird could be coming to bring you clarity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on the type of bird you see. So it all connects.
Yeah.
And that's your divine feminine power, your divine feminine energy. That you have the ability to draw all that to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And this, man, this can, we need to, look, here we go again, right? We need to do like a weekend retreat. Because there's so many beautiful things that can unfold in this type of conversation, especially when it comes to connecting with yourself in order to create the life that you want, because that's what we really want, right? We want what we want as easily and effortlessly as possible, and it is possible, right? And so I wanted to maybe round things up and maybe get some insight from our audience, because we've been doing a lot of talking. Oh my God. And we can talk, but with respect to our schedules, your schedules too.
Yes.
We would really like to know what is it that you are going to implement differently in your life from what we've discussed today. And it's important that you think about it, that it fits into your lifestyle, and it and you connect with it, right, emotionally, because we can think a lot, especially when we're getting thrown a lot of information, a lot of theories and things like that, but we have to connect with an idea and see it so that we can be it and create it, right? So I would like to go around the room, starting here, with something that
She says start on that
something
side.
that you're going to take away from today, honestly and truthfully, because this is your beautiful life. And what are you going to create going on from here?
Well, for me, just a little bit of backstory. I was an office manager. The office actually closed down. So I was just telling this young lady, when things like that happen, I just trust that that's God's doing, because on the back end, I also took real estate courses. I knew I'm gonna start trying to do taxes this year, and then I wanted to go to school to be who I truly want to be, which is a psychologist. So for that to happen, I feel like that was the confirmation. God wanted me to focus on me, regardless of all your bills you have. You got your daughter still, and to be honest, I haven't worked since the end of January. My bills are paid. I went to Jamaica.
Come on now.
Come
on.
But even though I talked to my family, they like, well, my aunt, she'll ask questions, and it could make a normal person stressed, because it's like, girl, what you gonna do? But guess what? This is what he want me to do, because guess what? It's been working out. And my energy, like 2 years ago or a year ago, I probably would have stressed out because my family not here. But I don't stress about it. I feel like I'm okay. It's gonna be okay. Like, I'm not worried. Like, and I just stay like that. So for you guys to speak on that, it was just like
confirmation.
Jessica, you doing good. Just keep going, and then really tune into what you need to do for you. So I do have to work on setting those boundaries though with other people, even from the conversations that someone could call you with, like you said, your homegirl could call you and shift your gear too, because someone you normally connect with on a positive level, it start to change when you receive bad energy. Now you put your, worries and stuff on the next person when that's not y'all behind anyways, like that. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. Next, gray sweatsuit.
Well, she's right there.
I know, but from my peripheral, you're next, and then she's next.
She's right there.
What are you going to take from today? What's going to be different?
Because you were processing a lot. When you were processing a lot. I saw it. Yeah, you was processing
taking it all in, taking it all out. I'm a spiritual person, as you say. I like the way you broke it down for me, though, because I'm like, okay, God, universe, like, what is going on here? I've just come, again, you come from the church, and we don't talk about spirituality of it, and to walk into your spirituality. For me, it was kind of scary because, again, I can take in everybody's feeling, like you said, energy. And if you don't have anyone to talk about that, no one's on that level of where you're going, I'm like, I'm in a dark place. Everybody's talking about what they're doing. I'm like, I'm sitting right here in the dark. Like, I can't see. I know God is speaking to me. I'm like, okay, what are you saying? So I appreciate what you was talking about. Again, third eye, I'm like, okay, throat, I'm like, where does this come from? I actually had to say, I was like, who is Shakira? I don't want to talk to her. So I'm taking around what I'm taking to ask the question. Learn to be grounded, because I didn't get that part, because I said the third eye was open. I'm like, everything's here, but I'm not grounded. I'm not in line. I don't feel that. And I'm like, when you talked about the adamant, and I'm like, oh, she can't go either. So
I can go now.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I think one of the things, I am anxious, so I have to calm down, because I'm like, when you know something's good is going to happen, you feel it, it's in your spirit, you just don't see it, and you're around, and again, focus on everybody else. Well, she sees it, and he got it. And like, God, why don't I get it? So I'm taking how to be grounded and how to actually be aligned, because I know I'm one of God's favor. I would tell you, I was like, I've been through some things, like you said, rape and all that stuff. Been through it, been there. It's in my past. It's just that. And now it's time to focus on the future, and time like where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do. And I do believe I can help people. I'm like, so I got excited listening to young ladies, because it's like, okay, I want to do that too. But, I'm still sitting in my darkness, so it's like I'm taking how to be grounded.
Yeah. Okay.
Time out. How are we coming out of the darkness? Stop saying you're sitting in your darkness, because that is still going to hover. That energy is still going to hover over you.
And I'm aligning. I'm meditating. I'm trying.
Action.
Yeah.
Okay. Praying. Okay. Action. Yeah. So, realistically, getting out of your darkness will require some movement from you to act upon what you say you know. You said you know some things. So you're going to have to move action in knowing. So if that's educating yourself a little bit more to go in that direction, if it's just starting what you have to create that's what you're going to have to do. We're no longer sitting in darkness, ma'am.
Yeah. Everything is always moving.
Mm-hmm. Because the longer you sit, the darker it becomes.
Okay.
I received that.
All right. Young lady in the green.
Come
okay,
on,
we coming to you.
No, this was so enlightening and rich today. Thank you all, ladies, so much for all of this. It's like, with me, I seem to be more on phase 2, what you're saying. Like I've done the first piece. And for me, too, it's like, so much to say about it. I'm going to zoom back into the organization that I do that I spoke with you about. And when you was talking to her, I said, I told her that when I first met her about doing a retreat, because I do a weekend retreat as well. And she and I talked, and I talked about that. And I said, okay, so what today is doing for me to kind of like let me know that I'm on the right track with it, block out all the noise. I'm in phase 2 of that, blocking out all the noise concerning the women's retreat, concerning all the different business that I'm trying to do. Because I talk to people about my business, the real estate business, the financial, what is it? Helping people with their finances. It's like people say things about it, and you're like, can I do that? But God showed me that today, yes, I can. So I'm definitely working on that. Even as far as taking on being the HOA president. And then I told someone about that. You're doing that? It's like they don't see what I can do, so to speak. But I was like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm rocking it, so to speak, with God. It's like, okay, so, but had I listened to them,
I wouldn't be doing it.
Never take it on. Then the community will be suffering. Thank you, ladies, so much.
You're welcome.
Hopefully I can go back and hear this again. I'm sure you're going to have it out there. I can just hear it again. And something you said as well, that parental thing.
Parentified.
Parentified.
It's like, okay, I didn't raise any siblings, but I've been in this mature light. I'm like, there's 8 of us, and I'm probably the 5th child.
Okay.
The 5th child, but I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest. I've been the oldest for as far as I can remember, so to speak. It's like, okay, I was parentified in that life. Like, okay. But I've been wanting to just relinquish my stand.
Yeah.
Relinquish.
I have been working on it. I'm doing it. Especially since last year when my mother passed away. So I don't have to be the one.
Yeah.
I did my piece with her, and that's it. It's like, I've been coming down. I'm on phase 2.
Yeah.
Good.
And sometimes those phases, because there's a lot of siblings there, sometimes you just got to do it all at once. Just one day, just today, from now on. Now, tomorrow, in an hour if someone calls you, tomorrow if someone calls you, have a different approach to it because you've made the decision. And it's relinquished, it's done. So we're asking our guests what we're taking away from our topic today and how you're going to implement some things in your life to evolve.
I will be implementing everything.
She say what? Woo-wee.
It was definitely everything that I needed to hear. I don't know if I want to say it's procrastination, but it's like everything I know that I want to do, I know that I can do it, I know that I have the skills. I've already had people say, you're great at this, I've had, the feedback, but it's just me constantly thinking, like, I guess it's the being afraid of failure.
That's what I heard.
Not being afraid of success, that's not the problem at all. It's just putting myself out there and not seeing the results that I've wanted. I've had a nonprofit, business. I've done a lot of different things. And I think when I don't see the results that I want, I kind of start giving up. Or I'm like, I'm not this passionate about this, but I still want to do it. I just need to have that, apply that focus in alignment of what I know and what I know I want to do, and just do it.
So when you started, I heard fear of failure. Identify what that looks like for you. Really identify that, but that's the only way you're going to change it. You have to identify it, and again, identify the behaviors that are tied to that thought process. Identify the emotions that are tied to that process. When you feel that way, what does that do to you? Where does that take you? What do you do after that? So procrastination, that means you're not moving. You're kind of like, oh, I don't know. So then you have to go back a little deeper. What was the point of entry that happened? The fear. Where did that fear come in at in your life?
I think it has a lot. I think most of it is not even internal. I think it's external. I think it's more of how other people would feel about it, or what other people would say, how other people respond.
So it's still internal, because that's validation that you're seeking out there. So it's something that you aren't willing to give to your own self. So now we question self-worth, self-value. You see how the layers of this is starting to unfold? So now we start, and I don't want to go too deep with you because others are in the room, but I'm going to start right there. I'm going to start right there.
That's good.
Okay. I'm going to start right there.
Okay. Young lady in the beautiful blue. Hi.
It's so funny because when you said you want everybody to go around and share, I was like, no. No, like I deal with anxiety. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? I'm like, okay, well, don't come from a place where I'm trying to impress people, but just come from just who I am, Shaquille, where I'm at in life. And so,
See, you were late, so you missed our breath work to release
yes,
all of that.
yes.
So,
I'm going to work on manifesting. I feel like I'm in a place right now where I'm acknowledging who I am, like on a ground level. Just like when you said you wake up in the morning and you thank God and the universe, and when you said the children you lost, I'm like, wow, like that's big. So my takeaway is to acknowledge everything. Also, wow, I'm freezing up because I haven't.
It's okay.
It's okay.
What to
That's
say.
fine.
Like, I mean, I'm just gonna work on myself overall. My healing work, the fear of abandonment, which I feel like started when I was in business and just being like a minister and stuff and being out there. I feel like I was affected by other people. Like, just being church burn. Like, I saw the vision that God wanted me to basically deliver and perform in my life, and I went after it like headstrong, created a beauty brand after that, a nonprofit, and then I just went through a bunch of trauma, imposter syndrome, like everything you could think of. And so like I completely shut down because I'm just like, is this real? Like, God, did you really call me to do this? You know? And so I'm at the place where it's like, okay, Shaquille, you know who you are, you know whose you are, but let's like manifest again. Let's go forward. Let's forget the past. But, you know, So, just overall, it's just, it's a lot. But, thank you so much for your words of wisdom and encouragement and everything. And I see myself in everyone that's in this room.
That's what I was going to say to you. Yeah, because I see the blockage, right? I see the blockage in you, but I also see the progress as well, right? It's like they're fighting with each other, and they don't have to, because if you were here when I talked about us being, I don't think it was probably in my mind, that of how we are of the universe, right? We're all created of the same thing. This is something we didn't get into, but this chair, this pen, your skin, it's all really created from the smallest particles. And so when we talk about manifestation, right, we attract what we vibrate You know, like, so you have to understand that each and every one of us are going through things because we're created to go through things. We have the mind and the mental capacity to go through that stuff. That's our challenge here, is to overcome those things so that we can get to that divine goals of ours. And so just know, whatever you're going through, we're all going through it collectively, and it's okay. And so find strength in that so you can just move past it. Move past it so you can get to where you're supposed to go, because it's blocking you. And I feel that. Like, I felt it. So that's what I would say.
And get back to your childlike self.
Yeah.
I feel like I was never given that, being over parentified. You know?
Yeah.
I just thought of something.
Because listen,
I just thought of
Like,
something.
you're taking on your mom, your dad, your
I just thought of
siblings,
something.
Like, you are the parent, the therapist, the everything. So you don't even really know essentially who you are to a core, like to the core. You know, you're just like,
yeah, figuring it out.
Yeah.
That's what I kept hearing when you was talking childlike self, childlike self. You got to get back to that place, and that's doing simple things as a child would, playing on a playground, swinging, coloring, anything that brings out that real joy, because that's what you're missing. It's conditional right now. Happiness is not joy. It's very conditional. You want to get back to that joy, and the only way you're going to get back to that joy is getting back to your childlike self. Because, you know, children don't have no fear, don't have no words, don't have no care. They just joyful all the freaking time, no matter what happened. A storm, somebody hit them across the head, they laugh. It's like, somebody just hit you.
Thank you for
You got to
sharing.
get back to that.
Yeah. All right, young lady.
I knew and I didn't know that I needed this today. When I received the invite, I read the topic and I was like, okay, it's going to be like a women's empowerment workshop. But I had already set out this year and said 2024 is the year for me to refigure out me. Last year, I got out of a traumatic relationship, and then over the past 2 years, I was dealing with a career transition that was very emotional and difficult, but I came out on the other side of it. So it successfully transitioned. But this year for me is a year of redefining, rebuilding, and rediscovering who I am. What makes me happy? You know, what do I want to do? Doing things just like for me. I've been a mom since I was 18, and I've always felt like I've had to be on. There was always so much expected of me, and I never had time to be off. My youngest son is 14, and God knows I look forward to when he is gone to college and I can be off. I am tired. I just feel like I've had to basically have octopus arms and do so many things and be so many things to so many people, and not necessarily focusing on myself and what brings me joy. And I've not really had the liberty and freedom to be able to always do that. And it's like, okay, I have to, now that that relationship is out of the way, and I when I was in it, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know how bad it was until I really got out of it. And I'm in therapy, so I am doing the work to, like I said, rebuild, rediscover, and redefine who I want to be. And although I am tired, there's still so much more that I want to do, that I know that I can do, and so much more that I want to be able to give back to other women who have gone through things like I have gone through. So I do that by way of volunteering, and then also as I meet people in the professional space who are also going through like career transitions, and they're not sure which way to turn and what they should do. I offer my free advice as to, like, these are some of the things that I've done, or have you, what are you doing, and have you done this? So thank you guys. I am glad that I here today, and I do have some questions
Mm-hmm.
about
Okay.
some like two questions about something that was said that I may not have caught it all the way. So Deliqua, you said when you were saying like, well, you were talking about how you deal with other people and your interactions, and if you know that day is not your day or what have you. But it made me think about a situation where I have been upset with a friend of mine who she's going through her own things, and I've had to learn over the past year or so as I was going through my own things that everyone can't be there for you or show up for you the way that you show up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to realize too that, okay, my friend is not me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a mom since 18. She didn't become a mom until like 35 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being upset that she wasn't able to show up for me and I wasn't able to talk to her about the things that I was going through. But I had to remember, I've known this girl since I was 16. I really know her. Like I know her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that she does not operate in a structured process way, organized way like that I am, that I operate in, and I know she's more scatterbrained and still trying to like figure things out, right? And so it's like, okay, I have to get what I need from somewhere else. It may not be her. I may have to, be what I can to myself or what have you, but also give her the freedom and space to figure out what it is that she's going through. So from that, I got, don't put a demand on others' time. As you were saying, like people were putting a demand on your time. I took that as advice to me, like don't put a demand on others' time. And it is okay for me to be selfish with my time. And then you also said, don't let others project their anxieties and fill in the blank on you.
Mm-hmm.
What was that missing piece? Don't let others don't let others project their anxieties and something.
I might have said energy or something,
Okay.
or their perception on how they may be handling something on you.
Okay.
Expectations is a big thing, and I think when you have expectations of other people, you give people the power to hurt you.
Yes.
And so I believe in fully always being in control of my personal power and not giving people that to hurt me. When you say, I need you to do this, and that person doesn't, you give them the power to hurt you. When you know how you operate and they don't operate the same, that is expectations there. So you have an expectation. Now that expectation is out there, when that expectation isn't met, now your feelings are hurt. That's your power. Yeah. You're giving them power to control your feelings. So you don't put that expectation out on other people. When people know you are going through and you know how you show up, that's you. That's how you show up. Everybody don't move like me. Everybody ain't, and it's okay. Understand who that person is. And if you need something, you have to be willing to give it to yourself, because everybody don't know what's going on. They don't know what you need because they barely know what they need. That expectation. You have to be willing to check in with yourself and see if you want to be seen, if you want to be heard, are you hearing and seeing yourself? When you speak and you say things, are you listening to yourself? If not, how you expect somebody else to hear you and see you? If you're not listening to your own self. If your own self is saying, sit down, and you say, no, I'm going anyway. You're not listening to yourself. You're not hearing yourself. So you're training that energy to come to you.
And I'm going to just piggyback really quickly before we move on. And sometimes we outgrow friendships, right? Because if you, if you want, if you require something from you may say, I want my friend to be available because that's what friends do. Friends are available for each other. And if you can't have a conversation with her about it and she can't acknowledge that, it's also okay to say, I can't be a part of this friendship. Maybe not now, maybe not ever, but you're not serving me.
Yeah, I know. It's something that I've been mulling over in my mind
So if that feeling and that emotion is there, then it's time to release it. It's time to you've grown apart. Just because we were childhood friends,
and those be the ones, girl.
Listen, people be somebody, you my best friend, girl. You don't know nothing about me since middle school. You barely keep up with me on social media. How you still my best friend? No, you don't know me. You didn't even know me in middle school. And we carry people way too long.
And they can't show up like we should.
Well, they won't. We have to.
Something earlier about transition. I felt you when you said that. I've been friends with this young lady for 25 years, and last year I had told her, I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. And it was at a time that she not lost her son. Her son was in a car accident. He's in a coma. And she was like, I can't take this right now. And I understood that. And me being an empath and, being a healer and coming into who I am, I'm like, I want to be there for you, but I'm an overbearing person. So I'm ready, like, okay, he's in North Carolina. What can we do? We're going to put some healing crystals around him. We're going, I'm in it.
Yeah.
And she wasn't. And even now, just last month, she lost her mother. And I'm flying up to Philadelphia, going to the funeral. And then I'm still looking at her. I'm looking at her like, you're not even trying.
Yes.
Like, I have weed, edibles, do what you gotta do. I have nothing against it. But she smoked it like it's cigarettes. And I'm like, because you don't want to face your trauma. And even then, looking at her, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I want to be there for you. I'm there. But again, like you said, she's not there when I need her. And that means you're going through a transition. Your lady said that earlier. That's why I cut you off. You're transitioning from her, and it's going to hurt because I'm going through it. Like, I need my baby. That's my boo. When I say we got in trouble, we got in some trouble. Lost our husbands at the same time. Girl. But when you transition to your next power level, that's what and that's what I meant, but I'm going through it. So I'm glad you said that. Don't sit down, because actually I'm not sitting. I'm going through it. Okay. But when you're going through it, you're going to lose some people. You want those friendships that used to be. Of 25 years. I felt her when she said, 25 years, kind of, you want to put it the way? I said, boo.
It's okay.
I have to.
It's okay.
For me, and even just a couple of days ago, I texted her, long story short, I texted her, and she finally texted me back a couple of days. She was like, you haven't called me, you haven't checked on me. I said, I'm going to leave you like where you are. I said, I'm going to give you your space, because that's what you need from me right now. If it's meant for us to be friends, I believe in the universe, I believe in God, I believe it will come back full circle. But you're not doing the part that I know in my heart you need to do. So, in other words, it might hurt. It's going to hurt you way more than it hurt her. Trust and believe that. But you have to do what's best for you. Understand at the end of the day.
I previously had segues into that conversation, and I've asked, like, what kind of value do I bring to your life? And she's able to give me this whole thing why, like, I'm her smartest friend, and I all this stuff.
But you can't think of nothing about her.
And then when I thought about it, I was like, well, what is, she doesn't ask me the question back, and I'm like,
right, there you go.
But I think about it, and I'm just like, I don't have this long list that I can say. We are different people. We have grown to be different people, but I still appreciated the fact that, yes, she is my longest friend. We only had one argument, now 2 arguments over the whole time, which a lot of people can't say that, but I also looked at, there's an option. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to completely cut her off. Right. I just have to look at just like I have grown apart from romantic relationships and grown into a different path, I've grown differently from this, and I know now what little cute box to keep that friendship. So I do have one other question. It was said we were designed to receive, but we give so much, and I needed to hear more of what was meant by that.
As a woman, you got to think about everything is off balance. You give to your children way too much. You overextend yourself in work. You overextend yourself in relationships. You give way too much. People aren't giving to you, and you just said it yourself, even in this friendship. People aren't giving to you in the magnitude that you're supposed to be receiving. So it's an off balance there. So you have to, in this redefining, I would suggest to you, redefine what you want to be given to you for you to receive.
That's good. That's good.
So even in parenting, what do you need to give to yourself in parenting that's going to help you, not as a mother, but help you as an individual, as a woman, be better? Figure out what that looks like for you and give it to yourself. Create ways to give it to yourself. And stop giving so much of your time. Allow yourself permission to say no and to not show up.
Yeah, because you don't have no more babies.
Yeah, right. And then there's only you. You can't burn yourself out. Then when they're gone, you're like, well, what's next? You got to start that process now.
How do you do that when you're a single parent? I think
I was a single parent.
I
I was a single parent. My children are, right. I was a single parent. My children are 30, he'll be 32 this week, and my daughter's 29, right? But I have a different mindset, right? So I understand that my children are going to get grown and gone. I'm supposed to give them what they need, and then they gone out there into the world. So I didn't parent from a place of ownership. I own y'all. Y'all are mine. I have stewardship over you. I'm supposed to give you what you need and for you to go. But in the process, there are still things that I need. And so, remember, I was healing as I was raising my children. So in healing, I started discovering myself. So I started pulling back because you can't blame certain things on me because of knowledge, information, insight, whatever, right? I can't give you something that I didn't have, right? And so I started pulling back with my children. I kept an open line of communication with them, but my parenting shifted as they shifted in age.
That's good.
I know they were 5, 16, 32. I do not parent them the same way, right? I don't have to be hands-on with them. Now I can spend more time with myself.
That's good.
She used to laugh at me. She thought I was crazy. I told you, I said, I go to the movies by myself. I go out to eat stuff now. Yes. But when I was doing this back then, she thought I was nuts. But it was stuff that I was giving to myself, taking time for myself, and saying, y'all old enough, figure it out.
Right, that's good.
You old enough, figure it out. If you can't figure it out, then you call me. And my children are self-sufficient. They barely call me.
That's good.
They're self-sufficient. My son called me when he cleaning and cooking and listening to some music. Mom, remember this song? we be on the phone laughing and chopping it up now, you know. But I parent them as they grow. I pulled back.
Yes.
And I didn't parent them from a place of ownership. And I didn't handicap them.
So
that's good.
Do you think, I think for me, I overcompensate. And I think that comes from my childhood. I'm a child. So my mother tends to overcompensate. And like you, my mother lives with me now, and she still overcompensated. When I was married, she overcompensated. So I think, and like you, my children is grown, you know, but I tend to still overcompensate.
So
we sometimes overcompensate too because that other parent is not there.
Is not there, and then also
a guilt.
And also validation.
Okay.
Also validation, right? I didn't have it, so I need to. So you got to understand the source of where it's coming from, because the source may be off. You may need to cut that source off, the root cause of that overcompensation, and change the cycle.
All right, let's take this last comment from Kimberly. No
She's
worries.
good. No, she's good.
No, we're good. I'm glad.
My question's answered. I first of all want to thank you, ladies, for just really pouring into me and the enrichment. Wow. I didn't even imagine it would be at that level. What I'm taking away is, you know, the guilt you feel for, this is about me this time, you know, and you spend years of the birthday planner, everyone's birthday, everyone's party, raising your children, giving everyone what they need, and you know, you have the 10 cents in the bank, but you have spent $500 on your kids' birthday parties, graduations, proms, homecoming, all that stuff. Thank you for validating that, because this year I made it a point. I said, it's going to be about
personal.
me. Everything I want to do, I'm going to do it.
Yes.
You know, I'm making it
Yes,
about me.
yes.
And you just validated that. And I'm like, I'm not going to apologize.
Yes.
We are empty nester.
Yes.
I'm not even going to apologize to my husband.
Yes.
It's about me. I need him to support me.
Yes.
Because I've been the supporter. I was a parent at 17, so support me.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
That's
That's pretty much you got all my questions. Thank you.
That's
beautiful,
good.
beautiful.
My question is, what makes us wanting the approval from others? Why do we think we need that?
Because sometimes I think it comes from something that you didn't get as a child.
That's what I was going to say too.
9 times out of 10, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
You didn't get something. It messes you up, right?
Like,
It
hey,
does.
you don't understand I can do this? I'm not going to do this. So
It does.
It does. It does messes people up when you. That's why I always go back to you have to identify what you need, and sometimes that changes right in the moment of a discussion. To be present, right? Be present. Now operate from the subconscious to understand. Does this person have the mental capacity to receive what I'm saying right now? And then do they have the mental capacity to give it to me? In the middle of that conversation, and then say, yeah, they do, or no, they don't. Now that they can't, and I've made that decision, I can get off this phone and go give myself what I need.
And let me piggyback, because all this time I thought I had daddy issues. You know, most black women, we don't grow up with our fathers in our house. And I'm like, oh, all of my problems came because my dad wasn't in the house. But I learned that the lack of nurturing from my overworked mother, because she was a single mother of 3 children, the lack of her nurturing has a worse effect on me, because it caused me to be very promiscuous. It caused me to seek validation from other people. And it caused me to live a lifestyle that my book coming out soon. My book coming out soon. But it took me down a rabbit hole of an unfavorable lifestyle, because I thrived on other people's acceptance. And so, you know, again, that work with just understanding who you were as a child, what you lacked as a child, so you can just address it now as an adult that you have the consciousness and awareness to, and make that change within yourself. But more than likely, like you said, it comes from something. And we talk about the subconscious mind a lot, but I want you guys to understand that it is the constant impact on your personality. Experiences, things, the people that you speak to, like those things are compounded onto you, and it's hardwired in you, and that is your subconscious, and those are the habits that you have. And so that's why it can take years to undo those things. But the journey will start today.
The journey will start today.
Yeah.
Getting into vibrational work, intentional about vibrational work, and connecting to different vibrational tones and music, listening to, you know, positive things, you know, affirmations, find things that resonate with you. Please don't go to Google. I'm so against going to Google for affirmations. I'm sorry. I am so against it. I really am. So please don't go to Google. Find what affirmations really connect and speak to you and where you're going. The other part of that is, if you don't like to be with you, why you want somebody else to be with you? If you can't stand sitting in a room with yourself for 5 minutes quiet because you're afraid of what self gonna hear, why you want somebody else to be with you? So you got to get comfortable with all of that. You got to let that stuff come in and go out. And embrace all attributes of you if you want to really start co-creating with your divine self.
Thank you, ladies.